Come on the county, let's have a score. Come on the county, let's have some more. We're all behind you, so never fear. Come on the county, promotion's near. Run lads, shoot lads, give your heart and soul. Run lads, shoot lads, give us all a go. Run lads, shoot lads, you can do it yet. Come on Newport County, oh, bang it in the net.
Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the 1912 Exiles podcast, the biggest, the best, and most fantastic Newport start again. Hello and welcome to a new episode of the 1912 Exiles podcast. If you hear me laughing, it's because this is the third time I've tried this intro now. We are the biggest, we are the best, a Newport County podcast made by the fans. Say it with me, for the fans. Correct. And I have to welcome back our sponsors that we are so used to and we beloved. Their burgers there at the Riverside Tavern Sports Bar. Riverside Sports Bar, let me get that right at the start of the season. If you like burgers and you like football and you like pints and you like Newport, it's close. Get yourself in there, buy yourself a burger and tell us all about it. We love it in there. And also a thanks to our benefactors, the Terrace Cymru Podcast Network, who without we would not be able to distribute. And welcome to our new sign-in of the summer. We have a new co-headline sponsor in Scary Vor Designs. Wondering what they do? I'll tell you. They help you avoid the shit houses. They will help you design your new garden extension or anything else. And they are telling me that, you know, if you just don't want a cowboy, you want a real person, you want to talk to a real person, down to earth, they're great and lovely people, go and talk to the people at Scary Vor Designs. Right, my name is Jack, and I'll be your occasional host for this evening. I'm joined by two people whilst the main cat is away, playing in some holiday resort in Greece, or I can't remember where. But without any introduction, it's Ian Street, man on the Northern Beat. How are you?
I am good, Jack. I am already starting to pray for the trains to run on Saturday because it's an early start for me, but I'm good. Looking forward to the season, as we will come into in a minute.
Well, it is the season preview, and without further introduction, other than to say the graphical genius, the wizard of social media, Mr. Alfie Humphreys. How are you? Welcome.
Keep going, keep praising. I'm good. Busy, but yeah, looking forward to this preview.
And how's your new job at Barry Town? You've bagged a really big job down there, haven't you?
It's what I want to do. It's fun. It's busy, but it's a lot of fun. People there are great. I just want to, they might not listen, but I thought I'd give them all a shout out because they've just been really welcoming, which I haven't got working with other clubs before. So yeah, it's just really busy.
So listeners, if you are wondering who your adopted Welsh Cymru Premier League team of the season is, it's definitely Barry Town, right?
Oh yeah, it has to be. £8 a ticket if anyone ever wants to come and watch, or it's on the Cymru TV app or the BBC now.
I do live in Glanllyn, around the corner from Newport City. Our good friend Robbie Wilmot is the manager there, and it was £7 a ticket. So you must be playing £1 better quality of football down there in Barry next to the island.
I won't say anything about the team, but Barry, yeah, they could charge probably a bit more, but no, it's good value. I think under 16 are free. So if Newport are ever away, come down to a team who will actually want you there.
Right. Let's before we start the preview, I'm just morbidly curious, and I'm going to go off script. Ian, what did you do with your summer? Everyone wants to know what you were filling your time when you can't do ye old tactics truck and floodlight watch. What were you watching? What were you doing? What were you filling that dearth and emptiness that the football void provides?
Well, as you know, and probably some other people know, I tried to ignore football as much as I possibly can do over the summer. I like to put my metaphorical boots away. But there's been so much going on in Newport. Ed keeps dragging me on to do podcasts, so I've had to sort of pay a vague interest in what's been happening at the port. But other than that, I've been doing my normal stuff, going to gigs, going to, reading lots of books, going to some cricket, doing that sort of stuff. Nothing to do with football, which is what I tend to do over the summer. So and to be honest, is what I do all year round. But I do more of it in the summer, so it's great.
Without the sadness and dreariness of Football League existentialism.
Yeah, none of that.
Faces.
None of that.
There was a little stat that Reese put up about who has the most right to be miserable in the football sphere. And I think top of it for 143 years without any sort of silverware or anything to cheer about was Gainsborough Trinity. So I think this table was like the whole gamut of the football period and beyond. And I think Newport was scarily something like 10th, which is...
Yeah, but I did say to Reese that I think that, having something to celebrate is you can debate that any way you want. I was celebrating at the end of the Barrow game. They might have had 40 odd games of misery before that, and most of the Barrow game was misery. But take the last 15 minutes. That's all I need. Keep me happy. I'll celebrate that.
And it's a bit morbid, but our listenership goes up whenever we sack a manager. So the more weird and dreary it gets for Newport, the better our listenership. So I suppose we're in quids in. No matter what happens with our sponsors, they get big exposure when bad things happen. So 13 more years of that and it'd be fine. Absolutely fine. Alfie, interesting summer for you, to say the least. But what have you filled your time with? Did you watch the World Cup? Did you give that a watch?
Yeah, every World Cup or Euros, I'm going to watch them all, and then I never get around to watching them all. I think it was all right. I couldn't really enjoy it until England got knocked out, which was the week before the final. So, yeah. Other than that, I've watched a bit of the 100 if it's been on downstairs. I've just tried to stay away from football. And unfortunately, working in football, you can't. For, media teams across the country, you might have 2 weeks off, which is usually, can you do something sort of thing. But yeah, I've been trying to stay away from most football. Friendlies aren't my thing, so didn't go to any. But yeah,
Alfie, is absolutely fine. You don't have to try anymore. You can just create a very awful AI video to give away the.
Don't set him off, Jack. For God's sake, don't set him off. We've got to get through this somehow with our sanity intact.
That's a reference to the awful AI video generated with references to wolves on the scenes that were shown by this child who was looking quite forlornly out the window as a wisp of green shoots through the window into random places in Italy that have nothing to do with Rome, and then all of a sudden turns up at Newport, and you can see the kit. Wasn't the best, but what I will say actually for the redemption of the club is a lot of the comms that came out close to the game with the club comms and the videos on the kit where the Centurions are marching through Clean, and I thought that was fantastic, and I'm gutted I didn't buy the shirt. Just because
what have you done over the summer, Jack?
What have I done? I refuse to watch. I don't think I watched a single minute of the World Cup. Not on principle, because I just don't think it's relevant. It's not real football. It's make believe. It's so distant from the real toils and troubles of YouTube football. Maybe I enjoy the misery more than I do the spectatorship of the World Cup. Went to Cos. That was nice. I tore my meniscus in my right knee, and I've been feeling miserable about it. How about that? That's I'm ready for football in distraction, but without the toils of life and my knee. Let's. So
you're not the answer to our midfield problems, then.
I'm absolutely not, and I'm definitely not the answer to the problem of this podcast because it's coming off the rails in terms of topic, and I know there's a format to keep to. So very much like myself being the moon and you, Ian, being the sun, let me get away from being the eclipse that we saw tonight. Get out your way. You can shine upon us and tell us what should we talk about when it comes to this season preview. What's on your mind?
Well, I think we should have a little recap on what's been a little bit of a strange summer in terms of, a lot of players coming in and Fuchs going, then nothing happening for a bit. And what were we going to have as a manager? Were we going to get a new one? Were we going to give it to Todd? And then obviously just over a week ago, Hayden Mullins came in. And then we brought in Alfie Merritt since then. So, yeah, an interesting, and you've got a new captain. So that's gone to Carl Cameron, hasn't it? So, and that's a pretty decent choice, I think. It's an adult in the back line. I think that's quite good to see. So, I think the first thing we should sort of start with is, and what do we think of the squad? And do we think it's better or not at the moment than last year?
I think every time that I'd watched Newport, I felt that the effort was good, but the quality just simply wasn't there. You're asking too much of people that are typically playing their trade, National League, Welsh League standards. And do I think it's better on paper? Yes, I do. I think we've got Cam Norman back in, and the signings that we have made from lower leagues have they have rocket fuel in them, right? So Shaq has 50 goals. It might not be enough for some people, but for some people, you just simply won't satisfy their urge to find that mercurial 20-goal-a-year striker at League Two. We are not in a position as a club to get that in. That'll never be the case. We'll always have to take a punt. But a bit of seniority, which if we hold Hughes, feet to the coals on when he told us that, okay, we have gone in a certain direction of recruitment, which is to say, let's gamble on Welsh talent from the Cymru leagues, let's go younger. And definitely the profile was younger. And that was a sore point in the early phase of last season. We're saying, I think we're in the proverbial shit because the average age of the side is something like 23. It needs to get older. Hugh told us, yes, we're going to bring some experience in. He's 100% done that on paper. Looks good to me. And I think we've got a lot more physicality to deal with the physicality in League Two. And there's protection for the kids coming through as well. So if you think of the front line as an example, you've got James Kroll, unfortunately injured, but he's young and inexperienced. So what has Hugh done? He's brought in Christian Doige to be the mentor, to be the protector, to show him the ways of the world. Perfect pairing. And if we could keep on doing that in the midfield, which is the sorest point in the centre mid, I think we won't be I don't think we're too far off being okay. That's my initial take on it. But pre-season doesn't tell you anything, and it's all up in the air on day one. So it's a difficult one for me to read, Ian, but I think we're going in the right direction.
I'd agree with that before I bring Alfie in, because me and Jack look like we're now co-chairing, which is quite cool. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think I could see the logic in what we've done so far. We brought experience in Carl Cameron, in Cam Norman, in Harrison Briggins, in Christian Doige. And if we can get Matt Smith playing and fit, that's another experienced player. So, you could argue there is a core of experience there, which we didn't have last year. And then you've got the young, you've got the more young guns around that. And as you say, some of the forwards we brought in with some jetpacks for speed and stuff like that. So you can see a logic to that strategy. I think it was really good. There was a couple of things that were really pleasing for me. With Hayden Mullins coming in and saying, let's get rid of this tippy-tappy and let's be a bit more on the front foot in terms of pressing and being, and we were very callow last two seasons to me, very callow team, pushed off the ball far too easily. And I was pleased to see Jamie saying, he was at the Wimbledon game Saturday, and he was saying, we were more positive, we were more robust. So I think the signs are we are trying to go in the right direction. I still think we are missing some, and we'll come on to that. Alfie, what do you agree with that, or are you still thinking we're not there yet?
I think I agree with, on paper it's better, and I do like how the new manager has come in and said, especially about Bamba, but I think it goes for most of the players, that he wants them to believe in themselves, sort of thing. Like last year we had players who probably just thought they knew they were lucky to get into a League Two team, and that's it. Like for years we've had players who haven't been up to it, and I think most of the fan base can agree with that. And we've been calling out for experience, and instead we've been getting like 20-year-old kids. But this summer we get I think Doige is 34, so we've gone the other way. Cameron Norman, who probably had his best 2 footballing years here, went to Tranmere and MK. They didn't really rate him, but he's come back here like he never left, sort of thing. So I like the business, what they've done. For me, it was either Sprangler or Biggins. I knew we wouldn't be able to get both, and I think we've probably got the better one. I liked Sprangler, but the age side, I think Biggins is like a year or two younger. But for me, yeah, it's just, I know we've got probably a few more to come in, and loanees, we do need definitely a bit more, because I do think the defence has improved. The attack has probably improved, but for years now, we've been missing that heart in midfield, like Joss Labadie, even like Scott Bennett. Probably about 5 years now, we haven't really had a stable midfield. So I just hope to see, the likes of Matt Smith, who had been put on the transfer list. I don't know if that was just to see if there was any interest, but hopefully he can stay fit and play most of the season, because I think if he does, he'd feel like another new signing. Because last year we didn't get to see the best of him. I thought he was all right in patches, but then he would be injured and so on. Because he sounded decent in pre-season, but as Jack said, pre-season, it's just a run around for them. The real business technically started last Saturday, but for me, it starts this Saturday.
I think that for me is key and core is that word injuries, right? So we have historically had a big injury or two in the first third of every season, what feels like for an eternity. I know probably every other club deals with it, but we do. We can absorb a James Kroll in attack, being injured and out. I don't think we've got the space to absorb a Kyle Cameron being out or a Lee Jenkins being out. I don't think we have that depth in the squad to deal with League Two toil, as it were. I think that's my big jeopardy at the moment going in. But it is August 12th. It is still very early days, but we are just a few days away from welcoming Rochdale back to EFL at 12:30 in the afternoon. Ian Street, you're coming down from a very long way up north.
It's not looking good, is what it's looking like. I'm on a ridiculous train out of Leeds on Saturday morning. I've already ranted about early kickoffs in Division 4 and my hatred of it. Yeah, just got to pray to the train gods, get down in time, and hopefully make kickoff. So yeah, I can't. It's a horrible. I don't like that. I don't like this journey in terms of trying to do it at that time in the morning. But it is what it is. I want to come to the first game, so that's what I've got to do. So it's set the alarm clock and get on it first thing. But I like you. I think arguably the first 11. I still think we're a couple short, but the first 11 isn't too bad. Should be able to compete in League Two. I agree that squad depth is lagging a bit, and I'm hoping that's where we'll make use of the loan market for the squad depth. But I really hope that we do bring in a couple more actual, not loan players, a couple of actual signings. And they have to be in the midfield area. That's where we're like. That's where we're lacking. Although I did like the fact that the way we handled the Alfie Merritt loan signing, because I think for too long we've taken some young player that occasionally we get a good one, don't we? Like Semenye or Ben White or whatever. But a lot of times recently we've had people who are just they're not ready, are they? And I like the fact that we got Alfie Merritt up during pre-season and had a look at him. I think that's a good way. And obviously, I've not seen any of the preseason games, so I have no idea. But the feedback we were getting from fans was that he looked a good player. So I'm looking forward to that because that gives us some nice cover there at left back, and I suspect I'm hoping to see him start actually. But yeah, first 11 sort of okay. If we could get two more in midfield, then our first 11 will be all right, and then we're going to have to use the loans to back it up, aren't we?
It looks like Alfie Merritt is a market improvement on Glennon. It looks like Cam Norman is a market improvement, or let's say a protector of Joe Thomas. Shaq has great potential. Kroll has untapped potential when he returns. Doige has proven goal scoring at a certain level. Whether he still has it or not is yet to be proven, but it's his hometown club. He should feel, he's back in the port. Do it for the port, Christian. And it's that midfield then that is that.
Yeah.
I think
the thing with Christian is hopefully if we've got these jet-packed wingers pinging it into him, he should be able to get some headers, he should be able to cause some problems in the box. I think the other thing I'm looking for him is to hold the. We haven't had anyone who could hold the ball up for a while, right? Do you know what I mean? To take that pressure off, and I think there was noticeable on Saturday from Jamie's report that when Doige went off, we couldn't. The ball was just coming back at us. So I think that that's the area where can we keep him fit enough to give us that outlet, and let players get up around him. That's what I think he's been brought in for. And then he can, the young ones can feed off him, and they've got to be his legs, haven't they? And he's got to have the nous and the hold up, and yeah, absolutely, he needs to nick in with some goals, stuff like that. But if we can get some decent balls into the box, he should get a few.
Did either of you watch any of the pre-season? Have you got any takes on, Jamie's seen it, we've heard that report, Ed was there for the Roma game, we've heard that report. Did you get to see any of the pre-season? You have any thoughts about what you've seen so far?
I've not seen a single second of pre-season football. I never watched it. The only time I've ever seen it is a couple of years ago. Coco brought the team up bizarrely because obviously he was from Sheffield, living in Sheffield. So he brought the team up to play in Derbyshire for their sort of pre-season training. And then we had a friendly against Sheffield FC, the oldest club in the world, didn't we? So I went to that. I don't do pre-season games. So I've not seen a second. That's partly why I'm so looking forward to Saturday, because I like that first bit where I'm trying to work out who the hell everybody is, and because I only go sporadically, it takes me till about Christmas till I work. This could be an age thing as well, but it takes me till about Christmas till I work out who's playing where and who they all are. So, but I like that first sense on Saturday of when they run out, I'll be going, oh, who's this left back? Oh, who's that over there? I quite like that. One of the quirks of me, I guess.
Bit like a BBC commentator who's just sort of referencing his team sheet to figure out who's that with. Turn around, who's 34? I don't know who 34 is. Yeah, I'm of that age, Ian. I totally get it. I'm right there with you. Alf, have you watched any pre-season? You got any takes on county and open play, or are you another abscondee?
I watched the Roma game on telly, but that's about it. I think if you didn't go, you watched it on telly. Again, you can't really judge because they're up against Champions League footballers. They did all right, I think, first half, but then Roma just turned up. From what I've heard, like, they sounded decent, but just going off last Saturday, I've heard a lot of Wimbledon fans saying, Newport are a really good team, they're not going to be down there. How many times did we hear that last season and the year before? So to me, that's just like, not even going to take any notice of that, because I heard probably from like half the League Two fans last year, like clubs last year, Newport aren't going to be down there. Technically, we were out of the fight, but well, by fight.
You must have different people to me, Alfie, because everyone I spoke to last year was like, "You're absolutely rubbish. You're going down."
The thing is, people say Newport 24th every year, and then when they see us play, you either say, "Oh yeah, you're not going to go down," or "You were the worst team you ever seen." There's never any in the middle. Yeah, I've just sort of avoided listening to people, and hopefully can see for myself when I'm at a game.
I think season before last we were bemoaning that the away form had to change because we needed to pick up more away points, right? And then somehow, unfortunately for us, the away form started to bleed into home form, and it just became permanent drudgery. But absolutely, Alf, I was the same as you. If I took a friend who was a Premier League glory hunter, or a Bristol Rovers fan, or a Swindon fan, or even previews with other podcasts, would always say, in hindsight, yeah, I think you don't look like a relegation side, but yet we were where we were. I'm with you there. It's quite consistent. So shall we try and preview the Rochdale game? Ian, is that next on your magical format? Am I skipping anything?
Well, we could have a go, can we? I'm going to give a shout out to my mate Paul, who would normally is the Rochdale fan that always comes on and do my match diary. So I'm giving a shout out to Paul. I'm very glad they're back in the league. He's a good mate of mine. So I don't think he's travelling this Saturday because it's a silly kick-off time. But I'll be looking forward to when we go to Rochdale later in the season and having a pint with Paul, and we'll be chatting about stuff. I'll get him on the pod for that. But I think it's an interesting game, isn't it? Because they are super battle-hardened, aren't they? You know, the amount of incredible last-minute goals they scored at the end of last season was off the scale, including in the playoff final. So they're a battle-hardened team. I don't know how many of that team have stayed together. I know they've lost a couple. They lost their manager, which, so we're not the only ones who've lost their manager. They lost their manager. So they've also got a new manager. I'm expecting them to be a pretty tough nugget, and I expect them to probably finish mid-table, I think. They have got money behind them. They've got a good backer. So I think they'll be tough, and they'll be really up for it first game back in the league, won't they? So I think this is a really good test for us. I think this is the sort of team that, if we forget about the money bags teams, this is the sort of team that we're going to be playing quite regularly. I think the bottom half of the division, which I expect Rochdale to probably be maybe the top of the bottom half. These are the teams where we're going to really find out our mettle. So I think it's a cracking opening, actually, for all sorts of reasons. And I think we'll learn a bit, I think, on Saturday. It's a shame Mullins has only been in charge a week, because I think this is the thing we've got to remember. Whatever happens on Saturday, whether we win, lose or draw, Mullins is going to need 2 or 3, 4 weeks, isn't he, to get his ideas across. And he's only been in a week. So we've got to, as a fan base, whatever happens over the first couple of weeks, got to give Mullins the opportunity to get his ideas across, to hopefully get another couple of players in. And it's only going to be probably in mid-September when we're going to get a feel for what's Mullins' team all about.
Yep. And Alf, any thoughts on the Rochdale game going into it? Any big themes? Any big worries?
I just think I don't know how many years this goes back, but the teams who have been promoted from the National League haven't gone straight back down. Like, one hadn't gone straight back down. They always like just find themselves mid-table. So I do think I think both of them will probably finish between like 10th and 16th. But Rochdale, yeah, with like 2 minutes to go, they were going to win the conference, and then York scored and whatever. But
that's it. Yeah,
they got through the playoffs again when they were losing. I saw, because they played Tranmere in the preliminary, whatever it is. I saw about half an hour of that, and I thought they just looked like an average League Two team who we usually struggle against. Yeah. But I think both teams will be up for it because, you know, we've got to change, and they are just coming back up. It'll probably be the most entertaining 0-0 draw ever, or it'll be similar to last season's first home game against Notts County, where, you know, again we needed the change, and Notts County were going for promotion. I think it was 1-1 in the end. But yeah, I don't like looking at the table until about October before thinking we're going to go down or we could go up. It's never in the middle. But as Ian said, got to give the manager a couple more weeks to get his point across, get tactics or whatever. Because I heard it was a bit different at Wimbledon to what it was at, you know, last year in the Fuchs. And yeah, I've not seen, you know, he's been in 3 games. I think Yeovil, Roma, and Wimbledon. And we sounded all right, but going back to what I said earlier, sounded all right last year, according to a few people. So, yeah, I expect Rochdale to be up for it, but I also hope we are.
I think it's going to be super entertaining Saturday. I really do. I think it's going to be a super entertaining end-to-end ding-dong 2-2. I'm going Desmond.
I think 0-0, but it'll probably be really entertaining.
Well, they've got a striker who scored 27 goals in. I'm going to struggle to say his name, but I'll try it anyway. Disa Rouvway, number 9. Where I'm going to struggle with this is and the bit that I'm most scared is, as you said, Alfie, is they are on the ascendancy. They are used to putting in goals on a regular basis. They're used to winning. I'm pretty sure their score tally, or their points tally rather, was 106 points, and to be chipped at the last second by York must have felt ridiculous. And those scenes at the end were quite hilarious. Go and have a look on YouTube if you haven't seen it. Absolute scenes. But you know, they're a powerhouse of National League, and they've only been out of the EFL for 3 seasons, so it's not like they don't know this league. It'll be a homecoming for them, and this is the rank and file side that we need to, you know, see where the litmus test fails or succeeds. I'm like you, Ian, very excited to see how we do against them. Score prediction, I really want to do a 0-0. But
a pair of you two, honest to God.
I am going to honour our late great friend Ollie and be a really big optimist here, and I'm going to say we're going to smash them 4-1, and Shaq is going to get his hat trick striking boost on
Brilliant.
Day one, because why not? That's probably not going to happen, and I actually think it'll be a Rochdale win 1-0. That's my actual prediction, 1-0 to Rochdale. Dare we now segue with, you know, the throes of the transfer window still amongst us, and we could yet see more signings coming in with no rumours at all to the contrary. Actually, we're not actively linked with someone that some balmy person on Twitter isn't making up as we speak. Dare we start to predict where we will end in the league table?
We're going to have to, aren't we? Season preview. We're going to have to nail our colours. And can I just say that, you know, just to remind everyone listening that I predicted correctly last year. Just to say that.
What was the prize, Ian?
All that matters is, you know, the respect that I have from the people in this podcast group on WhatsApp. That's all that matters. Ridicule. That's what I want.
I think I was like 15th, which was very optimistic for me, considering what my wins this year is going to be.
Go on, then. Put us out of our misery then, Alfie.
Well, we finished, 20th last year, 22nd year before.
Yeah.
So I'll go 21st, bang in the middle. I think all of us just want us to stay up, which is, from saying that before the ball's kicked, is probably a bit annoying, but after recent years, realistically, I'd like to say first. We're smashing the points tally and going invincible, but that is literally a pipe dream. 21st, I think.
Yeah, I'll go then. I mean, I think that, you know,
every pundit, every prediction, everything I've read has us finishing bottom, right? So this is a brilliant opportunity to bring back the Newport fighting spirit, isn't it? And say, well, we don't care what everyone else thinks. We'll battle our way to something. I think my head says we'll be bottom 4, but I'm not sure what the bottom, which order in that bottom 4. I hope we've got enough to stay up. I do think realistically we have to just focus on let's stay in a division. I know that is a bit dull, but that is the reality. However, I do think there are some springs of optimism that we can clutch onto, and I'm going to use those in my prediction. I still think we've got a couple to bring in. I think that could make a massive difference. If we can get another 2 in plus some good loans, we'll be looking things a little bit differently. But even so, I'm gonna say, we finished 22nd, then we finished 20th. So we're on an upward curve. I'm going to go 18th next year.
Wow. What a lofty height. I mean,
heady heights, indeed, listeners. Heady heights I'm going for, 18th. That's with my heart. That's with my heart. My head says something different, but I've got to be positive going into the start of the season. 47th season for me, this going in. Let's
hope it makes 50th and we get into League One.
Exactly.
That'd be a lovely present, wouldn't it? Predictions, right. So famously, I was the only one of the pod last year that actually said we'd get relegated, and I was right up until 10 minutes to go. And the final day of which Ian Street got to, in a gluttonous way, claim all the glory for being right all along. And of course, happy to be wrong, happy to still be in League Two, albeit very lucky, I think, given the poor squad quality. I think we scraped through and got away with one. And much to Ian's chagrin, I'm obsessed with the fixtures that happen around us towards the end of the season. And in the same way, I'm desperately looking at basket cases around us, and there are very few this season. There's one club that has a transfer ban, but I don't really think that's going to affect them too much because their squad quality is good. I'm trying to remember who it is. Not even the editor will save me from this, but there's one basket case. Crawley Town are pants. Gillingham could be rubbish. They look a bit basket casey, but there's none more suited for relegation. Like you said, 4-4-2 pegs us as 23rd. The illustrious Gab Sutton pegs us as bum last. But I think us in the know here, knowing what the weaknesses were and what needed to be addressed, have, to Hugh's credit, been addressed with great difficulty in churn of manager, which was not predicted. So there's got to be plaudits to that. It can go either way, can't it? Is that, the old heads are simply too past it and can't offer us enough to keep up with League Two standards, that the league has grown even further away from our baseline budget, which seemingly doesn't change. And that's going to be the joy and discovery of this season, isn't it? To see where the dart flies and into what number it flies into. I know the number doesn't include 22 on the dartboard, but I think that we're just about going to nail 22nd and be just about safe. I think we're in for a roller coaster, but I think we've got enough physicality to cause most people a bit of a problem when it comes to our home fixtures, which was the key and core to me for success, is that we've looked far too leaky, far too easy, and far too much of a beach holiday in Butlins for a lot of these sides coming down to just push us over nice and easy. And I think if we can just offer some resistance, some difficult days at Rodney Parade, and I think on evidence we already can, looking at the first half against Roma, looking at the second half against Reading, then it just takes a steady ship to keep us battling. And home form is enough for us. We could be pants on the road and still stay up, and I think it's 22nd for me, Ian.
Nice. Right, we'll have to filter in. I know we've had some predictions from elsewhere. So I'm sure someone can knock us up a graphic of where we're all said we're going to be, and then we can beat ourselves over the head with that later in the season. So, all right, I think we should wrap up because we rattled on quite a bit. But I've got one more question, which I guess is, and mine's touching on something you just said there, Jack. But what's the one thing or the one player you're most looking forward to this season?
I think probably seeing Cameron Norman play for us again. I think right back has been an issue since he left. And I just think that was a sort of marquee signing. A bit like last season when we signed Liam Shepherd. I thought he could be signing of the season, but then he was playing 3 games, not featuring for a month, so on, and now he's playing for Penabont. So yeah, I think Cameron Norman, that signing excites me. He was probably my choice of captain until we signed Kyle Cameron, and knowing what Kyle's done at like Bromley and Notts County, I think that's a suitable choice. But for me, someone who won't be at many games this season because I'm with Barry, when I do get to see them, hopefully I'll see Cameron Norman running down that line again, taking about 3 defenders on, putting the cross in for no one probably, and a long throw, which again hasn't worked in our tactics since probably Vicky. But if you've got, it's like last season, I'm going off a bit, but last season, Lee Jenkins, first 10 games, long throw, didn't see it then for the rest of the season. Like, we got to use it. Like, that was Ben Tozer's game. Like, everyone knew him for the long throw. I think Cameron Norman is the one for me.
This is really difficult for me because I'm really excited for Shaquille Gwengwe to have an opportunity and write the Ian Wright story of doing it in non-league and then going up, and I'll be more than happy to pass him off to a championship side, much as we did with Will Evans, and love the Milkman for what he did in his service to county. I would love that to happen. But equally, I think in terms of captaincy, my outside pick for this, purely on personality and attrition and the amount of effort I see him put into every game, and he wants to do it all, is Harrison Biggins. He is the example. I absolutely adore his work rate. It forgives us of a lot of sins when he's on the pitch because he just covers so much ground with so much gusto. I will enjoy to see him again this season. It is a joy to have him signed. And I think by the end of this season, I think we'll be looking back on it and seeing him as the key signing rather than Matt Smith in furlough from the year before. So it's definitely Biggins, but there's loads of lovely stories out there, isn't there? There's the return of Cam Norman. There's Carl Cameron's proven track record is exciting. Alfie Merritt has come from Bournemouth and he looks a left back as trialist A, initially clapped off for his efforts, which I've never heard of in my entire career of watching football. A trialist be clapped off for his efforts. And there's loads of little stories across the park. Famously, I am the Bamba apologist. I was sort of chastised on social media for saying I saw a little bit in him just because the man tracks back more than Bobby Camwer. But the man can run and the man can run quick. And that's all you need to put a bit of pressure on when you're on a high press against some deep sides that just want to stop you and park the bus, which is not a luxury that we receive very often in Newport. Not many people like to park the bus for us. But nonetheless, I think there's potential for excitement. But I think I'll hit it home with Harrison Biggins. I'm just looking forward to watching him ply his craft and run the absolute dogs off that pitch, because that's what Newport County for me is all about. Those players of the past that you remember are the ones that put the effort in. And my God, does he put the effort in here?
You've slightly stolen my thunder there because I was also going to talk about the Biggins, but you've done a great job. Well, I said in one of the earlier podcasts, I think Carl Cameron is a really good choice as captain, actually. And I think having, that leader at the back, we haven't had the voices at the back the last few seasons. We have been a bit callow. He should address that. And having him as the left centre back with Alfie Merritt potentially outside him, I think that's a really good, reminds us when we had Mickey Demetrio and we had like Ben White outside us. I'm not saying that Merritt is going to be Ben White, but it reminds me of that a little bit. So I'm really pleased with that. I talked earlier in the summer about giving the captaincy. This is before we'd signed Carl Cameron, but I would have given it to Biggins because I think he's one of those players that EA leads by example, but I also think he's one of those players that he's a mood player. So I'd be making him be like, you're our man, right? You're our man. Go and make it happen, because he is both hardworking and creative, which is a great mix. And I'm really glad we signed him, and I'm looking forward to seeing him in play this season. But I guess the thing I'm most looking forward to this season is us. Well, don't get to that many home games, but I'm looking forward to seeing a video printer that we win at home. I'm looking forward to us to be less passive in our play and to press better, to be more aggressive. We were so weak at times last year, and particularly away from home. We were rolling over. The amount of times I walked into a ground and we were 1 down in the first 5 minutes was untrue. Do you know what I mean? So I'm really just looking forward to us going somewhere pick any club at random. Like might go Rotherham on a Tuesday night or whatever. Go in there and giving them some problems. Do you know what I mean? Like rather than just turning up and going, oh look, we're 2 down. It's 10 minutes. I might as well just leave and get a trade. You know what I mean? Like just being a bit. Let's not be so passive. You know. And I don't think we will be. I think that the stuff that's coming out from Mullins is saying that. Jamie's report is saying that. I think the players we bought are around to play in that way. So let's do that. And if we can sign another few, like I say, to scurry about a bit more, all power to our elbow. So I'm looking forward to seeing us being less passive, with Biggins at the top of that triangle, top of the apex of that midfield, creating some problems. So yeah, good stuff. That's what I'm looking forward to. And it's going to start on Saturday.
And just a bit of a parish note as well, something I'm really looking forward to, and I'm going to bust a gut to make it, is that you might have seen it on our socials. We are dubbing the Salford away fixture on September the 1st, away to Salford, as Ollie Allen Day, to honour our former podcast crew member with a long and pointless trip to a far distance fixture, of which we knew was his bread and butter and he loved dearly, and we want to honour that memory and watch some miserable football, but be optimistic in the pre-show and think that we're going to win, and all the wonderful things that Ollie used to say about Newport County, even in the dullest and lowest doldrum of Salford away. So we picked Salford away, not because, I mean, if you're from Salford, I'm sorry, it's not miserable. It's just a fixture that's away and a long way away. So yeah, that'll be a great exercise in memory for all of us. And we hope to bring you some special content from that fixture. So we've got the predictions in. We've got our things to look forward to. We've got the players we're looking forward to. We haven't mentioned anything about a goalkeeper, which I'm surprised that we haven't mentioned anything about Jordan Wright's kicking. But that, by the by, a long time has passed and you're probably still in your car driving to your destination. So let us not bore you any longer with potentials of being in the middle of pre-season and trying to make a grand prediction, and bid you a farewell until the Rochdale game. To all of you that give a bit of money on the Ko-Fi account, very, very, very big thank you to you all. You enable us to do what we do on a weekly basis, and we couldn't be more grateful. And I think, Ian, you've got something to say about shout-outs or beefs. What are we doing about that this week?
I don't think we should have any, is my view, because let's be honest, we'll have plenty of beefs over the season. The season hasn't started. So let's have a shout out to everyone who's turning up on Saturday, and let's get behind the team. Let's give Mullins and everyone all our support. All of the other rubbish and bits and bobs are going off the pitch. Let's forget about it. Let's just get behind the team and, let's see what happens. Let's be positive. Let's go for it.
Until that fateful time, 12:30, Rodney Parade. To be back there is a joy. To be in the centre of Newport. Go and get your burgers from the Riverside. Go and drink your pints in the Murringer. Try low and slow barbecue if you're a Yank like me. Go and do all the lovely Newport things. Go and have a pint of Jubal in the pub. Go and marvel at that statue of the boxer that used to be, what was his name? David Pearce. Yeah, David Pearce. Before you walk over the shaky bridge and come back to the promised land that is where Newport County play. So until the next time, until probably me and Ian recording on a very warm day on the Hazel, until the next time, look after yourselves, and above all, keep it county.
Will now begin. So all together, let's all join in. Run, lads, shoot, lads, give your heart and soul. Run, lads, shoot, lads, give us all a go. Run, lads, shoot, lads, you can do it yet. Come on, Newport County, oh.